Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations, a podcast that teaches you how to create a clutter-free, functional and simply happy life. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser who supports families with practical steps to simplify their lives and create a more organised home. I'm passionate about supporting neurodivergent families and individuals like myself. Does the mess feel loud and starting feel like an impossible task? You're not alone. In this ADHD series on Simply Happy Conversations, I'm joined by Susie from Lilo Wellness to explore what it really takes to get organised with an ADHD brain. We unpack how ADHD and mental health intersect, why typical organising advice may not work, and practical ways to tackle clutter that reduce friction instead of adding to it. Susie also shares low barrier strategies to kickstart tasks and how to invest in sanity by simplifying and getting the right kind of help. This conversation is a video recording that you can watch on YouTube. Let's jump into this Simply Happy guest conversation with Susie to help you make progress with tiny, doable steps that respect your energy and work with your brain. Today on Simply Happy Conversations, I'm talking with Susie from Lilo Wellness. I've asked her back as a guest for our ADHD series because she is an ADHD coach. She works with women and she's helping women to refuse to be held back. She's going to be talking about ideas around tackling mess with ADHD, and I'm sure there'll be other things that will come into our conversation as well. Welcome, Susie.
Thanks, Narelle. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so good to have you back again. It's been a very long time. I think the podcast has been 3 years and you were one of the first guests.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us about, if you were only able to have 2 apps on your phone, what would they be and why?
Right. I think I just, back to basics, Google Calendars, like I use Gmail, I use Google Calendar, and Hey Google, like so that when I'm driving, if something pops into my brain, I can say, Hey Google, and I don't use reminders. I create an event because then there are notifications. So that means I get multiple reminders instead of one. I have my notifications set up in a very particular way. So yeah, Google Calendar. I don't know whether Hey Google, that's sort of just part of Google. So I'll say one more, and that is a talking calendar app so that events and notifications actually are spoken, so that I don't just hear a ping and have to go and check my phone. I actually hear the reminder. And it also keeps me on track. Like I have, like at 5:30, I have start getting dinner. It just tells me that. And that is actually a reminder because I don't need to be told multiple times. And then at 6, it says bath. And like I'm never on track with those things, but it orients me to time, to sort of where I should be. So it's sort of an optimistic schedule. But yeah, that would be it.
And so what is it? Is it linked to your calendar? It's an extra app that you put on and it's called Talking Calendar.
It's an Android one, but I'm sure that there are apps, or you could just ask Siri even potentially to set Siri up to say your events or remind you to do certain things at the same time every day. But it's called Talking Calendar, and it's just a really basic. You add the app, and it syncs with your calendar.
Oh, that's fantastic! Yes, yeah, I like that. That sounds really good too. Mm. So, tell us about supporting women with ADHD and why it's important to you.
Well, I think I really struggled with my mental health forever, and I was very fortunate that I had an enormous shift with my mental health well before my diagnosis, actually. But I really no longer get rejection sensitivity and didn't for a while prior. So I want to share that wisdom. And when I say I work with women so that they can refuse to be held back, really that's about refusing to buy into the societal bullshit that we are all subject to, and it's the opposite of pushing, and it's about being kind and accepting your challenges and reframing how you think about things more so than pushing to succeed. So the refusing to be held back is a very different refusing to what people might think it is. Still about being kind to ourselves.
Definitely. I think, yeah, that's something I have learnt having now a, formal identified as ADHD. And it's like now actually it's the rewording of some of the things that in the past would have been, oh, you're so dumb because you can't remember things. Whereas it's, there's other ways of looking at it now, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Once I found anyway for myself.
No, totally. Like I felt like I was just totally vindicated, in that moment. But yeah, it's ingrained in us at a very deep level, and it's taking, we have to unlearn a lot of pushing because that's been our way of managing for so many of us, and it's not sustainable. And as so many of us find, with, when we've been in the workforce or what have you for a few decades, that we can't continue on the way that we have been going. And even now, I've been unwell, so I had to go at 80%. I had to learn to go at 80%. I never go even to 100. I don't go to 100% anymore because if I do, I get sick. It's been my teacher, I thought I was like doing the mindfulness and getting the sleep and doing the nutrition, but I needed to learn how to not push and not work from that internalized place of you should just be able to do all the things and you should just be able to manage.
Yeah. Yeah. But what a great lesson to learn that now and to be able to now bring that into your business and into your life and move forward with that rather than,
my life's work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really. I still am programmed to push, and I have to very consciously not push. So.
Yes. And I find the same. It's my clients who remind me daily that you need to slow down and stop and maybe take some time. So yes, I really appreciate, like some of them talk to me about, I'll come and be your body double and show you how to relax at home and not do anything. That'd be fantastic. So then thinking about that, tackling jobs like sorting through kids' things and like wardrobe and things like that, or maybe it's at the top of your desk. What is it that maybe people with ADHD will find that really tricky to do?
Yes. Tackling things where you don't know where to start is very real. Like when you understand what's really going on under the hood, you can start to appreciate why this is so hard. So it's very difficult for us to prioritize in our brain, right? So, of course, when you're faced with an overwhelming mess, you can just not be able to get going, right? So there's a barrier. If you've got a job that you can't get on with it for some reason, there is a reason, right? There is a barrier to you starting. So we'll talk about initiating tasks in a moment, but I just want to tell you what I would do. And is there a mum alive who doesn't have the job of having to sort through their kids' stuff and get rid of stuff and just make some order of crap, right? So the first thing is to set yourself up to succeed, right? So don't just think, oh, I've got to do this job and just find a moment. Set aside an afternoon, have some tunes going, make sure you've had your meds, do it at a time of day I said the afternoon, but maybe it's morning that you are at your best. So think about all those things first, right? Is there somebody that you can be talking to, chatting to as you're doing it? Or, have a mate around who can chat to you and sit on the bed and chat to you while you do it. Think about what helps you achieve whatever it is first. So this whole notion of setting yourself up for success is what I talk about in my coaching to everyone all the time, because most coaching is like, what are your goals? What are your values? What are your goals? Off you go. And what's the plan? I'll see you later. Off you go and do it. But no, we have to put things in place to support us to be able to do the thing. Okay? That's the difference with us. So that's the first thing. And then, okay, so if I'm doing my son's stuff, and I only have one child, so I'm a little bit better off than many, but
Yes.
then I love the process from the home edit. I don't know if you've watched it, Narelle.
Yeah, I love the home edit.
Yeah. So you might have talked about it, right? Edit, categorize, contain, right? That's their process. So edit, in other words, you're getting rid of stuff. Categorize, create categories, and contain, find a way to contain that. But I do that in one go. So I will have, and you may have talked about this process similar before, but I will have a recycling receptacle, whatever that is, an op shop bag, a bin, and then other piles, or ideally just containers straight away. Yeah. And it really is a matter of delineating a space. This is, you could say this for your desk as well, right? So that I'm just going to tackle my desk. Get the containers out, whatever you think that you will need, obviously for the kids and toys, and it's got to be all of them, recycling them, op shop, the bin, and then the containers you're going to put things in. And you pick something up and you put it in one of those, and that's it for me. Yeah.
So probably for one, with me, there'd be one more container. If it was, say, in our desk, that it's going somewhere else in the house, because that's probably the biggest thing that you'll find, that there's heaps of other things that don't live in that room that need to go somewhere else, isn't there? Yeah.
There's an other.
Yes, the other.
But yes, absolutely. There'll be an other.
Surprising. I don't know, maybe your child's okay, but in other homes, there's little bowerbirds that can be in people's homes, and they collect things from all over the house. And actually, even this week, we had one, and he had the tape measure was under the bed, and an old phone, and a little lamp. Yes, there were so many things that we found that we made the little bowerbird pile to go back to the other parts of the home.
Yeah. But absolutely. I guess, it'd probably just be fine to be a pile in my son's room instead of a container. But yes, absolutely. And that, even just that, like another way to tackle a desk, for example, is remove absolutely everything off the desk onto your bed. You have to go to bed that night, right? And then get your containers and then put the things back on your desk that you actually want there, or in drawers. So that's another way, is just start with a clean slate. Yeah. And then, but it really is a matter of, and also with that process of being ruthless. You've got to be ruthless, because, and that's hard for a lot of us because we're sentimental, and that's why it can be good to have somebody else around too, actually. But if there's any wavering, it goes.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I will use with some clients, how about we just move it out of the space for the moment and we can't see it, and revisit it in, a couple of months or even a couple of weeks, and see if we want it back. But if not, then maybe it can go. Even yesterday, I was a lady with clothes, and she said, I'm going to put them up the top, and if I don't think about it, and when you come back next time, if I've not worn those things, they're going. And I was like, great, that's perfect. That's a great idea. Yeah. So what about then with clients that you work with? What do you do to support them around looking at those things, those barriers that may be getting in?
Yeah. So there's sort of practical barriers, and then there's, what I mean by that is, if I need to sweep the stairs out the front, I will put the broom there. And then when I have the energy, firstly, it reminds me to do it, but also it's just the barrier of going to get the broom. Every little barrier that you can remove in advance. Sometimes I will thread a needle and have the needle and thread ready to go and put it like on the couch, the arm of the couch, the button or thing that I need to sew. So that when it comes time, when I have a moment and I feel inclined, it's ready to go. I don't have to rummage around and find it. So little things like that. So if there's something like there's a task in there which is orient yourself to what needs to be done. That is a task in itself. Yeah. And I talk about that with people when it comes to things like, I don't know, an assignment, a school assignment, that sort of thing. But it can be just as relevant with tackling this kind of thing as well. Like,
it's so funny.
yourself to what needs to be done. That can be a barrier.
Yeah.
Because if you're not
I
sure,
do it from you. There's a few things I do just because of what you've reminded me, like your door sweeping one, but also you're cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the shower. And so it's my razor because I don't want it to stay in there and get rusty. So I put it away, but then I forget. So it's like I put it in there the night before, so I'll remember to do it. Otherwise you'll forget. So there's a few little things that you've pointed out over the years and I've gone, yes, that is perfect. I love, putting it out before just for when you're ready to actually do the task. It makes a big difference.
And it is, we have to sort of balance that, having too much in our eyesight and having using the visual prompts. But it's such a big one. Like I know it's not directly relevant to mess and tidying, but it's so relevant to keeping your home nice and doing all the chores. I always put the clothes horse up when I put the washing on.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
In fact, I had a load that went through the other day. I think it's the first time I had a load that went through that I forgot about in 10 years because I didn't put the clothes horse. And if you don't use a clothes horse, then just stick your laundry basket on the kitchen table so that you don't forget. And then once your washing's through, you put it out straight away because then it doesn't get all crumpled and disgusting because you have something big in your line of sight and then you just put it away afterwards. Like it doesn't have to stay there. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so with a client, you would break down some of those reasons why they may struggle with getting, say, they're on top of their household chores, in particular washing. Washing is a big one. I don't know if you find washing's a real struggle, as well as dishes. Dishes seems to be another one that, people I work with definitely struggle with. Getting started. Also, you've got the sensory part of it as well. Getting your hands wet, maybe the grossness of the things in the water, floating in the water as well. But, they're getting started.
Look, I have to be honest with you. I only have one. There's only two of us. I don't have a family like, it's 3 or 4 people or more. So some of my challenges in that regard aren't as big as others. But I think another thing that I do, for example, is I will put everything in the wash, but I'll leave something on the floor in the laundry so that when I walk past, I remember to put it on. And sometimes I've even put the powder in when I fill the washing machine, but I don't want to put it on yet because there's a few more items to go in. But then once it's, I know that, we're going to have more washing at the end of the day, then I shove it in there and turn it on and it's ready to go. It's just a little bit less fiddling. I think it's doing some fiddly stuff first.
Yep.
It makes all the difference, like as you go. I mean, and even with the dishwasher, sometimes I empty it in 2 lots as well, right? Like, I'd say whatever you can do, get a dishwasher. I had one on my bench before when I was renting. Like, get a dishwasher because you can get rid of the mess away. It. So
that's
and find them. And this is actually something I wanted to talk about, Narelle. Anything that is going to improve your sanity is not a luxury. I think women and, people, but women in particular, we all have this thing that getting help is a luxury. There's a blog on my website that says just buy the Dyson. Like Dyson, just find the money. If it's a cleaner once a month, if it's somebody like yourself that is you're gonna work with maybe even just 3 times a year, stop saying I can't afford it or I just should be able to manage. Therefore, it's just, I just feel uncomfortable. It's a luxury to get. If you're spending money impulsively or on takeaway, just think about that because a lot of people are very happy to spend money on things that help them with their dopamine or because they can't be bothered to make dinner. But if you've got a really organised, beautiful home, you're going to be much more inclined to want to make some nice food in the kitchen, right? You know,
Yeah, definitely.
It's a false
an organised
economy.
pantry. Yeah.
You know?
The ADHD tax, isn't it, as well? Then you think about with some of it, it's like, actually, if I did this, then I wouldn't have forgotten that, and I wouldn't be doing this. If I had, maybe a command center set up to use, then maybe I wouldn't be missing those bills, or, having that app, that reminder app, or whatever it is. Definitely, that maybe that small investment is going to save you in the long term, isn't it?
I think more than anything, we have to shift our mentality about we have had it drummed into us that we should just be able to manage our career, our home, and admin for the whole family, and all of it, and getting help is a luxury. And it's very damaging to our well-being that we don't. And this is the thing, I hope it's okay for me to do this, I think it will be, but it's also a big finger to the patriarchy, because we've been screwed. When men got jobs and got paid, women continued working, they just didn't get paid.
Yep.
Right? And we just have to manage so much more on average than the guys. And yet we feel guilty, or like there's not enough in the budget to get any help. But it's about, okay, well, hang on a minute. This is about sanity, right? Like, we'll spend money on our healthcare and our medications and those sorts of things, but sometimes just doing the things we love more and getting help with the things that we don't love is actually going to be far better for us than investing in some of the things that we do invest in. So.
Well, we're going to have that dopamine level back up, aren't we? Doing the things that we love rather than something that we really struggle with. And then it's that, that negative self-esteem you're then in. And the rejection sensitive dysphoria as well possibly kicks in that. And that's not good then either, is it? That whole mental health side of it.
Yeah. And look, this is so relevant to tidiness and organisation, because, I think I can think of one at least client whose shame level around their house and how much stuff they had and how much of a mess it was through the roof. And you helped her so much because, you got it and you're so compassionate. But, I would just say to anybody who's in a situation where they just don't know where to start, like, get some help, because then you can start afresh. And it's so overwhelming, that shame as well. And it's just, it's your condition. It's not a character flaw.
But it's also looking at, like, I don't know, I always say to clients, don't clean up before I come. I need to see where everything is, because that's where the evidence is. That's where it's like, why is that drawer half open and you've got a box on top? So it's showing me that possibly that extra step of opening a drawer is too much. So we need to change the function. We need to make it more of an open storage without a lid is going to work better for you. So looking at that whole function rather than, like even just taking lids off rubbish bins and having several bins in the toilet has, changed the way things are in our own home and in so many other homes I've worked with. Yeah.
Cool. And that, it's good you should mention that. Again, it's not directly tied to mess, but it kind of is. It's like positioning things in your kitchen so that they're easy to reach. Like, I don't do that with a lot of things. I do it with the tea and coffee. I do that with the things I use to make lunches in the morning. Yeah. So the Vegemite, peanut butter, and we don't really use Promite at the moment, but they're in the drawer above where I make them so that I don't have to go back and forwards, and just reducing the fiddliness and just zooming out. We're not very good at that. We're not very good at taking moments to zoom out and stop and just get that view of what's going on here. Where is that intersection at which if I do something differently, it will make my life easier and more enjoyable? Right?
And look, that is exactly why I just love working with ADHD coaches and even other professional organisers, because it's that zooming out, getting somebody else to come and sort of just break it down and see what are some of those barriers that we can actually do. So,
and in fact, just you can use anybody for that.
Yeah, you could.
The humble brain dump is really underrated. Like, just call your mum and say, I've got this nightmare on my hands of and you'll probably come up with a solution as you're talking it out, because it's, again, that moving information around in our head, and that applies to tackling a mess. It's like, I don't know where to start. There's all this crap on my desk. What is it? Like, describe it and explain. What I'm thinking is I might do it this, and then you'll find that you develop a plan. And in fact, ChatGPT can be really good for that too, just a sounding board.
Yes, actually, that is really good. And I have used that with some clients, saying, let's get some tips around getting started, trying it out, and saying, after we've broken down the step, I said, let's just see what ChatGPT would tell us to do. And it's almost the same. So, yeah, I've really enjoyed helping clients to see that they can use that to help them to get started. Is there anything else around initiating tasks that may be a little bit tricky? There are tips that you have?
Yeah. Well, we've talked about removing barriers. And the zooming out helps with that, right? And so does the brain dump. It's like, what are the steps, you know? Yeah. And brain dump doesn't have to be written. It can be verbal. But on a really practical level, I don't know if you've ever heard of like just saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like a lift off. There's this cognitive thing that happens. And I first saw it used by an OT with my son when he was like 4. So he's 11 now.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 5, yeah. And I was just like, oh, my God, how did you just get him to do that thing? Like, you know, he was just fiddling with something on the other side of the room. And she said, it's time to come over here now, Harry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he just came, and it's like, oh my God. And we've been using it ever since, and it really helps him transition, but it helps us too. It's like, if you're lying in bed, or, you know, so that can be just a momentum thing. And timers. Really, honestly, like literally, like I am just going to if it's something that you would prefer to stick needles in your eyes and do, just say, oh, I just really don't want to do this. Like, ring your mum or your bestie or whoever and say, I'm tackling this thing and I need somebody to like keep me company. And just say, I'm only going to do it for 10 minutes. Stick your timer on. And you might find that when the 10 minutes is up, you can keep going. But don't keep going if you can't, you know, chances are you will.
I'm sure I always seem to do. Yeah, but that is a good one. To set that time amount and just to get started.
But I really think, you know, oh, gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention this first and foremost. Make sure your meds are optimised.
Oh, yes.
If you take medication, because I suspect, I don't know how many, I really need to count up how many clients I've had over the years. I suspect I've had 2 clients whose meds were optimal. People don't realise what's possible. So often people stop the titration process because they go, oh, this is amazing. There is a degree of, you know, I don't want to use the word tolerance because that's got a bad connotation, but we do get used to the meds, and we don't necessarily know what our sweet spot is unless we try something higher than what we think is our sweet spot. And Narelle, there's a webinar. Annoyingly, it's behind a paywall now. It used not be, and it's on the ADPA website. Now, ADPA is the ADHD Professionals Association. So they put out the new clinical guidelines, right? So they are the experts in Australia. And on their website, they had a webinar which was called Best Practice Medical Management of ADHD in Children, Adolescents and Adults, because basically the principles are the same across the lifespan. It was for doctors. And the 2 points they made: treating ADHD is easy, treating ADHD well is not always. And doctors don't know how to get it right a lot of the time. annoyingly, it's unusual for people to have a thorough titration process. And the other point they made is when you think you've got it right, go a step higher, right?
Yeah.
Because our baseline is low, as well as the fact that the tolerance to side effects, actually, we can experience some side effects that go away as we get used to it, right? But the benefits won't. So people think, oh, I've got side effects, stop. And like meaning just some jitteriness or a headache or
grinding your teeth, sore teeth.
Yeah.
That was mine.
Sleep is a bit slower to settle down, and appetite. But even with appetite, if you have a big breakfast and something in the middle of the day and a big dinner, as long as you're not losing weight, and your body will adjust a bit. So getting meds right is so.
Yeah. So if you had one thing that from our conversation that you would like them to take away with, what would it be to remember that they could do maybe?
The biggest one would be understand that you've been brainwashed, how much we've all been brainwashed to think that we should just be able to manage and that getting help is a luxury. Like that to me is more important than any tip.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself
I love that.
whenever you can, and don't feel bad about it, because it's when you're in good shape, you are able to give your gifts to the world around you and look after your family better. And we're so programmed to put ourselves last. And we need to, part of being kinder to yourself is understanding that anything that helps with sanity should be being thought of, not being thought of as a luxury. Yeah. What a beautiful way to finish. Thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you? Like, what's the best spot for them to go to? So I will include it in the show notes, but it's great to hear from you as well. Yeah. So my business is called Lilo Wellness, and I have a vision of lying on a Lilo with, it's probably a mocktail these days to be sad, sad but true, but, completely not a care in the world. So that's where that came from. So it's lilowellness.com.au is my website. I will also, I have a template that people can use, which is a sort of prioritizing template, and it's just sort of a recipe of brain dump, removing things from that list and then refining it and steps. I also want to mention Goblin Tools. Oh, yes, I love that app, yes. So that's an app that breaks things down so that you don't, is what it says. So that's a really cool tool as well. But, so that's where people can find me. And just the handle is just Lilo Wellness on Instagram as well and TikTok. And especially your background in nursing too. I think if anyone is interested in definitely around medication, definitely head to your website because there's so much on there as well. Correct. But also what we were talking about before we came on air is that the health stuff is and the hormone stuff and how that plays into the health stuff is very, very clear that there are conditions, there is a cluster of conditions that we are much, much more prone to, people who are neurodivergent, not just people with ADHD. And there is a document that you can take to your doctor to help you manage these health issues that is on my website as well. Or you can just have a look via my Instagram bio. At the top of the list is a guide to chronic conditions, but I can help people with all that stuff as well as coaching. So getting meds right, understanding how to advocate for yourself and get good management of health conditions is something else that I can help people with, as well as all the functional tips and tricks, and the self-esteem, the self-worth piece as well is something that I'm very passionate about as well, helping people with. So. Well, thank you so much for your time and, again, sharing your wisdom, and it's been lovely chatting with you. I know it's too brief, Narelle. We need to go have a coffee. Yes, but it's really nice to see you and hear your croaky voice. I know. It's like losing it at the end of the week. Thank you for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. Sick of wasting time looking for your keys, wallet, or that one charger that always disappears? Your space needs visual anchors. Grab the ADHD-friendly organisation checklist, a 10-minute setup, a weekly reset, and troubleshooting map to adapt your space.
Create an environment that works with your brain so that you can stop losing or forgetting things and start leading on time with your sanity. Head to simplyhappy.com.au and click on the resource tab to get instant access today. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.